Hello everyone, I'm Motahara, a second-year PhD student at McGill, working with Dr. Puya Bashivan. In the next 5 minutes, I'm going to tell you about my PhD project on modeling visual search using artificial neural networks. Visual search is the act of finding a target among many visually presented items, like a familiar face in a myriad of people in a conference hall, or favorite mug in the kitchen. Is the mic working? But we cannot see everything in our visual environment at each moment. We have a specific visual field. And even within this visual field, we cannot see everything with the same high resolution. So we have, because we have an eccentricity-dependent visual acuity. So we actively sample from our environment by moving our gaze direction. And that leads to the formation of search scan paths, which are a hallmark of visual search behavior. And to model this behavior, we used artificial neural networks to develop a model of visual search that is neurally plausible, takes into account biological eccentricity-dependent visual acuity, and has a dynamic internal representation that allows integration of information across fixations. And its general architecture allows for its extension to other visual attention and more general cognitive tasks. Here you can see the building blocks of the model in which the CNN resembles the ventral visual stream in the primate brain, and the RNN takes on the role of the frontoparietal attentional control network in guiding fixations. We followed the same stimulus configuration as the human psychophysics experiments in Zhang et al. 2017. So at the first time step, the Q frame fixated at the center is shown to the model. And at the next time step, the search array is shown for the first time to the model, initially fixated at the center, and the RNN generates the first fixation location. This process goes on until the model finds the target or the maximum number of steps is met. We trained the model using a two-stage training paradigm using supervised and reinforcement learning, and it successfully generalized to novel categories and could replicate human behavior without being trained on eye-tracking data. So the model's scan paths on the same search trials were highly similar to those of humans on the same search trials, and the model outperformed IVSN, the current best model of visual search non-trained on eye-tracking data, in terms of replicating humans' scan paths. So the model behaves like humans, but we wanted to see if it's doing so relying on the similar neural representations as those in the primate brain. So we first looked at the priority map representation, which is known to be encoded along a network of frontoparietal areas such as FEF and VPA in the primate brain. We looked for it in the model's latent space. And this is thought to be either retinocentric, dependent on the current fixation location, or allocentric, independent of the current fixation location. And similar to the primate brain, we found the retinocentric priority map representation emerging in the model's latent space. We further looked into the Q category representation, which in some tasks such as visual working memory in the primate brain has been found to be encoded consistently in the same neural subspace. And we found the same thing for visual search in our model's latent space. We further wanted to look into the geometry of this priority map representation. The priority at different locations in the visual space could be encoded by separate neural subspaces regardless of where the physical location is. And that would be a discontinuous representation. But the priority at different locations could be, which are in closer proximity in the visual space, could be encoded by neural subspaces that are more aligned in the model's latent space. And that would be a continuous representation, which is what is going on in the model's unit activation space. So the generalization accuracy of the priority decoders trained on one location and tested on other locations decreases with increasing distance between the physical locations in the visual space. So we found out that the retinocentric priority map is consistently encoded in a continuous topographical configuration in the latent space of the model, and that's a prediction of our model about the representation of the priority map in the primate brain. So altogether, we present a neurally plausible, image-computable, goal-driven model of visual search that replicates human behavior and neural signatures and provides a useful tool for proposing and testing hypotheses about the underlying neural computations of visual search. Please come by my poster in poster session 2 to hear more.